So let's play with this. This is the GCD file. I don't want to make a mess here, so I will open a new file and get rid of this guy, right? So let's call this examples of while loops, right? So I'll call it example while dot py. That will be the name of my file. Say guess equals empty. So this is an accumulator, if you remember. We are going to accumulate data inside this list. Okay, let's get the first name. Input, enter a name. So these are names of my guess. Blank to end. So you're giving this option for the user to stop entering, right? If they want to stop entering, all they have to do is hit the enter button without giving a name. While name, so as long as you give some non-empty input, this will be non-empty, so it will be true. Append that name to your guess list and ask again. All right. At some point, you are going to get out of the loop when the user gives nothing. When you get out, you say print F. F stands for print formatting. You will see that in a few lectures. But for now, just use it as it is. If you write F, you can do the following. You entered, length guess. So what is these braces, right? You will able to put in, the program will not consider this part of the string. It will actually go through your list, find its length, which is an integer value, and put that number here instead of the braces. That's the advantage of using F here. F here is for print formatting. You place that F, it tells Python to look for some such options, right? You see these braces? It's going to put an actual number there, whatever you put in, okay? So if you want to see, by the way, print by default goes to a new line. You want to see who are the guests, so you can say the guests are new line, right? Print guess. One parenthesis. Okay, let's play with this a little bit. So it is in my same folder, Lecture6 folder, and I was going to call it example while. Okay, now run this. Enter a name. So let's say John. Enter a name. Let's say Jane. Let's say Jen. Let's say Tiffany. Well, let's say, I don't know, Gabrielle. Okay, I'm running out of names, so I hit and enter. It's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You entered 5 guesses with a full stop there. The guests are : exactly what I asked them to do. And here is the list of guests printed. This is clear? So if I don't want them listed like this. If I want the names listed one below the other, you can say, you have already learnt these things by now. You can say for name in guess print name. Okay, save, run. So let's start giving the same names: John, Jane, Jen, Tiffany, Gabriel. So you see, now it went through the names, and by default setting it went to a new line. So we were able to use different things, a while loop and a for loop in the same code. Okay, now let's keep this program alive. That's good to know. The loop we just saw, the while loop, is a post test loop. So you first tested and then went through the loop. It is also called loop and a half. We can avoid repeating the command for reading. So notice you have a name equals this, a name equals this, right? You repeated that command. You can ignore it, you can avoid it by something called pre-test loop. So what do? The very first one, you don't have to ask for a name. You just give it a fake name, call it fake. Look, by construction, this name is non-empty string. So my while loop is going to take on, right? So this fake will make sure my while loop gets running. All right. And then I'm asking the user to give me a name. If the user, so no matter what my user gives me, if the user gives a name, my fake gets replaced by the name they give me. If the user just hits enter, then my fake name is replaced by empty string. Either way, I go forward. Okay. In other words, I don't get two inputs from the user. I don't get an input before I start the loop. Okay. So this fake is called a seed. It got my while loop going. So let's improve this, right? So I will save this code using the triple quotes approach. Right? But I want to keep most of the code here. I don't want this line. Oops. So start with a fake name. All right. So that is called a seed. It got me started in the while loop. Because this is a non-empty string, it got my while loop started. But I don't want to append fake in my guess list. All right. So I have to watch. So what do? I ask for a name first. I ask for a name first. Now, if I get something non-empty, then I append it. You see? Otherwise, if I get something empty, then I don't append it. Right? I don't append it, and because it's empty, I get out of the while loop. Okay? So make sure I'm completely out of the while loop, and this is where I come back. Okay? So let's play with this. Run. John, Jane, enter. I enter 2 guess and it works well, right? Suppose I run it again, right? And I give nothing. I just enter. You entered 0 guess, the guess are. There is nobody to print. So it did not print anything. All right. Now, this is a, so the previous one was post-test and this is a pre-test. All right, pre-test. So before testing, you get started, right? Now, in the loop above, while we have avoided repeating the command for reading a name, we have repeated the check whether the name is blank, right? We checked here, a wasted check, right? So the following code removes that extra blank entry at the end. All right. So let's see. You see, you checked for name twice. This is true. Then you do this. So what do? Let's first append the name anyway, right? Only get rid of the empty entry at the end using the pop method. Okay, so that's a good scheme. I hope the problem is clear. Look at the code again if you are not convinced. I checked whether name exists or not, and I check again in the if conditional control structure whether the name is empty or not. So I'm double checking even though I'm not repeating my name requests from the user, right? So let's comment this out and start another one. Okay, I would like to keep most of the code here. Okay, so I want to get going, but instead of an if, I simply append it. No ifs. Even if I get an empty name, correct? Here I will append it and then I will get rid of it. So the default is you pop out the last entry. By the way, this should not be indented. It should be aligned with the name. Okay, please check. So let's work with this. Run John, Jane, enter. Okay, it works well. All right. So I'll come to this example in the next file, next video. Until then, bye.